Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you to Conversations with the Mayor, a program established to support one of Mayor Dan Rizzo's key tenets, and that is fostering greater communications at all levels of government with the citizens of Revere. Welcome, Dan. I'm pleased and honored to be working with you on this program. And, of course, one of the things you've just celebrated a major milestone, the first 100 days in office. Yeah. Welcome and congratulations. Can you talk a little bit about communications and how key that is to your organization and going forward?
Absolutely, and Ed, first of all, thank you for hosting this show. It allows me to kind of update the citizenry on what's going on in the city and important issues like this one here with the Revere Shines event, and also obviously want to thank Revere Public TV for for their efforts in this as well. The first 100 days have been great. I mean, it's it's been an awful lot because naturally, for anybody that goes into any new job, it's a real learning curve. So there's a lot of things coming at you, rapid fire, and but I'm very, very fortunate. I have a great staff that I work with. We've got a very committed and dedicated workforce out there that is really doing a terrific job. So it's really made the transition much easier than it might otherwise be. As far as the communications and the dialogue with our residents, that's something that is very important to me. It's important for me that people have a voice in city government, and we've tried at every level possible, including this venue that you've made possible. Mm-hmm. We've established a Facebook and Twitter account that for those that are Facebook and Twitter savvy, they have been utilizing that. It's also going to be going forward a tool for us to use. I mean, God forbid, in any type of a situation where hardwired communications are down, we'll still have the ability to communicate with residents via Facebook and Twitter. So that really, it's kind of twofold why we have it. One is for normal day-to-day communications with our office and with the city of Revere, but also in the event of an emergency that we have a way to contact, in addition to the Code Red and other. Well, actually, Code Red, that's a whole nother system. But in any case, what we're trying to do is really open up city government to people, and you've probably seen it through the mitigation process that we just did a show on not too long mm-hmm. ago, where we had people call in. We had several different open forums. So I think the more involved and active and engaged we are with the community, the stronger and better community we're going to have.
Well said. And to looking forward, our next conversation with the mayor, we're actually going to focus on the communications tools and the social media and so forth that you're actually using to promote communications throughout through the city. So that's good. I'm looking forward to hearing more about that then.
Fantastic.
And of course, because this event is so close, we wanted to focus today on Revere Shines, which actually takes place day after tomorrow, Saturday the 28th. Talk a little bit about how they got started and what the event is and what the activities will be that day.
Sure. Well, I mean, the idea of a citywide cleanup, really is not new by any stretch of the imagination. But it's something that that we as an organization, that I as now the mayor want to prioritize, is keeping the city clean. So last year, as then a candidate for mayor and a member of the city council, we passed a resolution on the city council that named the last Saturday in April Revere Shines Day, where we were inviting all citizens throughout the community to participate in a citywide cleanup. So that started last year, was very, very successful. We had well over 200 volunteers, and we expect at least that this year. It's a lot of people would say, or might say, that, geez, one day out of 365 days a year. I mean, but the goal, I mean, number one, you'd be surprised how much trash that we get mm-hmm. up and off the streets and out of our parks and playgrounds just on that one day. But really, it's a larger message than that. It's it's not just the trash we get that day, but it's building awareness. I mean, we have children that participate in the cleanup, and we have senior citizens that participate in the cleanup, and everybody in between. So what we're really trying to do is to put it in people's subconscious mind that, look, throughout the year, let's make a goal here to keep a clean city, because I think that obviously, you know, it goes without saying, the cleaner our city is, the better a reflection it is on our community, on our residents, and really on our overall quality of life. So it's very, very important for me to make sure that we keep the city as clean as we possibly can.
Reinstilling a certain sense of pride in the city, and therefore, you know, people's well-being. And you know, we've had conversations with Revere Beautification in the past, Beachmont Improvement Committee. We do cleanups a couple of times a year, but it's great now where there's a citywide focus where all of these groups can now come together on one day, basically focus and concentrate their efforts to support one another and do a citywide cleanup. So I think it's a great idea.
Well, that's the goal, Ed, and I'm glad you brought up, you know, the Beautification Committee and the Beachmont Improvement Committee, because they're out there, you know, day in and day out doing the work that they do that helps this community without any fanfare, without any, you know, but they do it, you know, as volunteers each and every day, and it really helps the community. The impact it has on this community is really immeasurable. But on this particular day, you know, I think it's great because we're all going out. This is not a political event. It's you know, the Beachmont Improvement Committee will have their T-shirts on, presumably, and out there and doing their thing. The Beautification Committee will be doing their thing. The City Council this past Monday passed a resolution to support the Revere Shines event. I know there'll be committees out there. The various city councillors will have their committee members wearing their T-shirts. So it's really, and you used the word earlier, pride. And that's what we're really trying to instill in people. Pride in our community. So this is the one day that we can all come together after the cleanup. You know, as you know, everyone's coming back to the American Legion to have some pizza, have something to drink, and to kind of share our success with one another. You know, and you know, on this day we won't be individual groups out doing our own thing. We'll be one community, and I think you know, I think that, you know, the feeling that people have when they're celebrating that type of success and that type of initiative, we're all on the same page, really is going to carry us until next year. So,
and looking to Saturday, if I understand it correctly, I think around 9 o'clock you're looking for people to convene, I think near the American Legion Hall
at the American Legion
on Broadway around 9 o'clock for some refreshments and to basically get started from there, and then basically to fan out throughout the city. Is that correct?
Exactly. We've identified close to 50 locations throughout the city that are, you know, set to be cleaned. And then, you know, depending upon how many people show up and how many people are already pre-committed, we're going to have people that are going to fan out, as you say, at about 10 o'clock. At 9 o'clock, people will start to assemble at the American Legion, where we'll have coffee and donuts, courtesy of Dunkin' Donuts, I might add, which is very, very generous of them. You know, people that will be able to pick up their brooms or their rakes or their shovels, whatever it is, that the equipment they need, their gloves, and then head out to their assigned areas. So we've done a pretty reasonable job, I think, strategically to get this whole thing set up. In fact, last night we had our last meeting. The DPW has been extremely cooperative and helpful in this process. All of our city council has been extremely helpful. Dr. Dakin and the school committee actually embraced it the other night at the school committee meeting. So, I mean, I really have a good sense and a good feel that it's going to be a real good event for the city. That's
great. And you mentioned, of course, you've gotten great support from the ward councilors, and they all have their little committees that are pitching in and participating in this event. You also talked about Dunkin' Donuts, and there are other organizations that have helped support this. Maybe at the risk of missing one or two, I'm sure you can't remember them all, but maybe talk a little bit about that support.
Well, there are. I mean, you know, people, you know, there's been various organizations that have really stepped up. I know Capital Waste has, Stop and Shop, Metro Credit Union, Subway, Arrow Street Sweeping, Northern Tree Service, Martorelli Landscaping, 99 Restaurant, Companions, Kelly's Roast Beef, Chelsea Neighborhood Developers. And if I'm missing anybody, my apologies to them, but they're equally as important as all of those that I just mentioned. You know, these organizations have bought into this event, as obviously we have, and I'm sure with their assistance and their help, again, it's just going to be that much better and that much nicer of an event. I mean, as nice as it was last year, and as you know, I think this year will be that much better. So.
Now, everybody's competing at 9 o'clock and a fan out through the city, and then you talked about people coming back afterwards, so around noontime, or what time are you envisioning?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a very good question. I mean, you know, it's slated for 10 to 2, so 4 hours of cleanup. But if people have their areas, if we send somebody out, and let's say the Ward 1 captain has his or her 10 or 12 areas, whatever it might be, and those 12 areas are done by noon, then I'm assuming they'll probably come back to the American Legion. Others that may not finish until 2 will come back at 2. So, you know, the way that I envision it happening is people kind of periodically coming back as the areas are cleaned. But, you know, this is a volunteer situation, so, you know, we're not gonna be looking at our watch saying, look, stay out there until 2 and get back here. Whenever they get back, it's going to be fine with us, and we're going to have, as I say, pizza and refreshments back at the American Legion.
It's a great way for everybody to come back and celebrate the accomplishment of that day. Yeah, so that, I think it's a great idea for people to come back afterwards. If people are looking to get more information about it, where do they go?
Well, they could certainly call our office at 781-286-8111, or they can email us, and I want to make sure I have this right, revere_mayor@revere.org. So, you know, either one of those avenues is fine. And again, you know, the other thing that I wanted to stress to people, there may be people that cannot actually make the cleanup for one reason or another, but if they want to share in that same spirit, that same community pride, I would just simply ask them, go out in front of your house, go out in front of your business, clean up that day just in front of your location. That's going to help the city. You know, I'm going to try to put as many resources as I possibly can on the street, given our budget and given our financial constraints. But the city itself can't do it alone. We're going to need the help, and this again is the purpose of Revere Shines, to get everybody in that mentality that, look, we're all in this together. We want a clean city. Let's all pitch in and do our part. If everyone does just a little bit, you add that up in the aggregate, it means a lot.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. You know, it's little things add up, and little by little, you know, it comes about. You talked about, you know, and of course, it's not just this one day. It's all year long. It's trying to instill a certain culture, custom in terms of people keeping things cleaned up. Prior to this event now, you've actually gone out to various business districts, and I know up and down Broadway with Brooms, meeting with the businesses. Talk a little bit about that and the experience, if you will, and the reaction.
Yeah, it's been very, very well received. In fact, yesterday we were up and down Shirley Ave. We're trying to get, I mean, I'm not sure how feasible it's going to be for us to get out to every single business in the city, but I'm trying to get out to as many businesses as possible, particularly in our main business districts, high visibility areas, to encourage their participation. And essentially what we've done is we're delivering a broom to each business. Those brooms were bought with private dollars, not tax dollars. And we're delivering these brooms to each business owner, and I'm going in and basically soliciting their help. You know, basically what I just said is that we can't do it alone. I'm asking each and every business owner to have some corporate responsibility just to take care of in front of their property, and asking them maybe once, twice, depending upon what type of business they have. I mean, if you're a business that's selling, you know, plumbing supplies, you're probably not going to have a lot of wrappers and papers in front of your store. Conversely, if you have a convenience store, you know, you're going to get the scratch tickets, the lottery tickets, and so on. So, you know, but on the flip side too, those lottery tickets on a windy day blow in front of that plumbing supply company. So, you know, I'm just asking everybody to take a little, couple times a day, help us keep the city clean.
Yep. Now, you've also, if I understand it correctly, you're using city services, the DPW you mentioned already, but you've also reached outside of the city at the state level, I think, for resources and support in this, yes?
Yes, absolutely, Ed. We've reached out and have got some tremendous support from Mass Highway. In fact, I coming here, I drove by 2 or 3 different Mass Highway crews that are out cleaning up. They're not going to be able to join us tomorrow, but they committed to do their part today.
Okay.
And so there are several crews out there right now that are doing work cleaning up the underpasses on the highways and things like that. A lot of the rotaries that are Mass Highway owned and operated, they're being cleaned. So I'm very, very appreciative to the work that they're doing as well. So it's as I say, it's a group effort, and it's great to see.
Yeah. And kind of somewhat related to the whole Revere Shines and the cleanup is you've recently, I think, announced and talked about the program that you're having, that you're instituting to kind of revitalize the business district on Broadway. Of course, part of the Revere Shines cleanup, and it's somewhat related to that. Can you talk a little bit about that? And I know we'll probably do a whole show on that at some point in time, but as it relates to the whole cleanup campaign.
Sure. Well, again, that was something else that was very, very important to me, is to have a vibrant central business district. We want to have vibrant business districts throughout the community, but even by virtue of our zoning map, our central business district is Broadway, a certain segment of Broadway. And so as a first goal that I have is to kind of transform this area into what I feel as though it once was. You'd have a lot of people that came downtown for goods and services at one time, and it's kind of this isn't a slap at anybody that's down there now or anything like that. But I just want to try to revitalize the area, make it look nicer, make it more appealing for people to come and shop downtown. So we laid out plans about a year and a half ago about our vision for Broadway, which I promised people that we were going to make a reality, and we are doing that. It's going to be a phased-in project. In fact, our first phase, we're actually getting ready to go out to bid, and that's to put new kind of antique lighting in place of the light poles down there. And then we're going to move into sidewalk and street improvements, and then we're going to go into facade improvements and sign improvements. So it's going to be a phased-in type of development. In conjunction with that, we're putting together a kind of advisory committee made up of business owners, managers, property owners on Broadway, so that they can help us and actually partner with us as we make these improvements. If I have to say any one thing that really resonated with people during my campaign for mayor last time, it was our vision for Broadway. I think there's a lot of people that share that vision that say, why do I have to drive through other cities and towns that have an appealing downtown and then drive through our central business district and not get that same good feel? I'm trying to bring that good feel.
Once again, that sense of pride.
Yes.
That sense of pride. And it all kind of comes back together. And as I mentioned, it's probably a subject for that we'll take a whole other conversation with the mayor down the road a bit. So no end to subjects I'm sure that we could probably talk about going forward. So to recap, we have the event coming up Saturday. 9 o'clock, everybody will be convening in front of the American Legion Hall for refreshments, T-shirts, brooms, and whatever else they need to do. People then will fan out to all different parts of the city, and between 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock be doing projects in those various areas of the city, and then we'll come back together again to kind of celebrate the accomplishment again by the American Legion Hall and enjoy each other's company and the day, hopefully, yes?
Perfectly summarized, yeah. It's this Saturday, April 28th. 9 a.m. And as I say, everybody, the public is all welcomed. If you haven't signed up yet, you can certainly just show up. There's not going to be a shortage of any brooms or gloves or anything like that. It's a chance for everybody to kind of join their neighbors, join their fellow residents with one common goal, which is to keep our city clean.
And I think you mentioned earlier you've had support from some of the business community. If anybody wants to, because I mean there is a cost associated with the materials, the supplies, and the refreshments. If people want to actually donate money to this event, to Revere Shines, to help keep it going, to help support the cost associated with it, again, they call your office, email?
Like same thing. They can call our office at 781-286-8111, and we can give them, avenues on how they can help, either, financially or in kind or whatever, however they want to, support the event. We could certainly use it. And again, it's just another avenue for people to become part of this event. So. Good point, Ed.
All right, great. Well, about time to wrap this up for at least this session of Conversations with the Mayor, our first session. Once again, congratulations on your first 100 days. That you made your milestone there. And I'm looking forward to many more conversations going forward. Our next conversation will take place somewhere near the end of May, beginning of June, and we will talk then at that point about communications tools, social media, all of the tools that the mayor and his staff are using to help foster greater communications with and from citizens of the city.
Excellent.
Dan, thank you very much. I really appreciate it and look forward to more conversations.
Same here. My pleasure.
Take care.